Nightmares. I haven't had a nightmare in a very long time, but I had something close to one recently. And it was not scary in the sense of like no boogeyman was chasing me. There weren't any monsters. It wasn't, a dark, stormy night with some knife wielding crazy person, running down a dark alley or something like that. It wasn't any of that. I actually was in my house, the same house I'm in now, and my son had brought home some kids. And so what the nightmare was that actually I was back as a wife and a mom, and my kids weren't grown yet. And that doesn't sound like a nightmare, but when I woke up and I looked around my room, it was such a real dream that for a minute I thought that everything that I had accomplished in the last 5 years didn't exist. That was the dream. And that I was back as a wife and a mom, not divorced. And that fear and panic and turmoil that gripped my heart was beyond anything that I could even imagine. And it took a minute for me to realize that no, I had a dream and my life is still my life. And everything that I worked so hard for, everything that I struggled so hard for, everything that I sacrificed so hard for, the risk that I took, stepping out of my comfort zone, all of that actually happened. And I'm actually here where I am right now. But for a minute, I thought that all of that wasn't real. And this isn't the first time that it's happened. I have had that sensation a few times, when my books first came in a box and I opened them up for the very first time and I ran my hands across the cover. There was that thought of, it actually is physically here. It's not just in my head. I can't lose it. Somebody can't steal the idea. It's copyrighted. It's mine. It's physical. It's real. And I've had that sensation every time that I wrote a book, every time that I accomplished a milestone and I was able to physically, write my name on that retirement contract and say, yes, this is my day that I'm retiring and now it's mine. When I had those milestones and things that were just in my head, just dreams, just goals, just visions, that moment when it became physical reality. And the moment before that, when I was wondering, or it might have been weeks, or it might have been months, or it might have been longer than that, but when I was wondering if it was going to happen, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Am I going to be able to pull this off? Am I going to be able to do this? That moment when it's physical and it's real, and then no one and nothing can take it away from me. That moment is like, in a sense, waking up from a nightmare where you got this close and it didn't happen. Because you see that in movies all the time, and every now and then you see it in real life. You see the football player who was just getting ready to go to college with his scholarship, and then he gets injured in the last game of the season, and the whole scholarship is, rescinded because the injury is a life altering injury. It's a career ending injury. Or the person who was on their way to get married, and they find out that their significant other has been doing something behind their back that they just can't go forward, and they lose that. So it happens all the time when you're so close and you miss it, when you're so close and it doesn't happen. So when I post the things that I post about choices and about self-empowerment and about, self-development and following your dream and all the things that I post, even about relationships, it's because there are times when it's just so real to me that I could have missed out on the most amazing experiences that I've had. And even with thinking about, my kids, I've mentioned before on one of these audio clips that my kids were breech, and I had a C-section. So, sometimes you're watching these docudramas or these medical shows and you're hearing all these stats about Black women and what happens to them in pregnancy and what happens to them after childbirth and how they don't make it. And I think, man, that could have been me. Thank God that I am here because my kids were breech. I had a high risk pregnancy. I have healthy children. I'm healthy. So I mean, that it's just seize the day. Go for your dreams. Follow your heart. Use your brain as well. But I am so glad that I won't be on my deathbed one day regretting the risks I didn't take, regretting the dreams I didn't fulfill, regretting the opportunities that were in front of me that I could picture happening, but I just didn't put all the effort into it to make it happen, because I did those things and I still have more to do. But I've written 5 books. I've performed. I've done, I have a podcast. I've created businesses. I've done workshops. I've done the things that came into my mind and heart to do. And I've made mistakes along the way, and everything that I've done hasn't been as successful as I wanted it to be sometimes. But I'm proud of what I've done. And it would be a nightmare. It would be a true nightmare for none of this to have happened. For none of this to be my real life. And I'm so glad that dream was not true. May you all consider